Let's take a closer look at the charges in this case. Joining us this morning is Christopher St. Lawrence. He is police commissioner and supervisor of the town of Ramapo. Supervisor St. Lawrence, good morning.
Good morning, Maggie.
Lawrence Taylor denies any involvement in this, says he did not have sex with this particular young lady. Is there any physical evidence to support that he did, or is it just her story that these charges are based on?
Well, I can't talk about any evidence that was taken from the room, although our police did take forensic evidence from the scene of the hotel when they entered at 4 a.m. Yesterday morning.
Are there any witnesses from the Holiday Inn that also back up the story?
There are witnesses that saw Mr. Taylor there in the evening. There are no witnesses that have come forward to describe the situation with the young girl.
But they can place him at the scene?
Absolutely.
When the young lady's uncle contacted the police, did he have any idea that it was Lawrence Taylor that she was accusing of rape?
We did not know that at that time. However, the victim did relay that message. Our police knew who we were going in after at room 160 in the Holiday Inn. And as you know, Maggie, there's a continuing investigation both here and in New York City with multiple agencies right now, and looking also now at Rashid Davis and the potential of human trafficking.
How was Mr. Taylor's demeanor when you went to arrest him?
His demeanor he was non-combative. He was cooperative with the police. He did want to go into the men's room. We did not allow him to do that, and we did recover items from that men's room within his hotel room.
How do you predict this case will wind up?
I think that there'll be two sides to this case. One will, I think, focus in on the human trafficking with Rashid Davis, and that is something that we still have the ability to charge him with here in this jurisdiction, but presently we're allowing New York City and other agencies to work on the human trafficking, and we will continue pursuing who was the contact person between Rashid Davis and Mr. Taylor, and also the actions that took place in that room by Mr. Taylor, which will be the focus in our courtroom right here.
Because this young lady was allegedly a prostitute. Christopher St. Lawrence, thank you so much,
well,
sir. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Maggie. And I wouldn't necessarily characterize her as a prostitute. I would say she was a 15-year-old runaway that turned 16 over the last few months and was taken advantage of in this situation by Rashid Davis.
Yes, a prostitute, if that's the word, definitely against her will. We got that. Thank you, sir. Now let's bring in CBS News legal analyst Jack Ford. Jack, good morning.
Good morning, Maggie.
If he, in fact, had sex with a 16-year-old girl, what does that mean?
You know, it's in New York, as in most jurisdictions, what they call a strict liability statute. It says if you have sexual intercourse with somebody who is underage, and in New York 16 is underage, it's a crime. Third-degree felony, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Even if she consented?
Even if she consented. It's interesting because the law says, as a matter of public policy, our law has said we have to protect people. And there are cutoffs, different cutoffs in different states. Here, 16 says you are not capable of consenting. So even though if it was a situation where people were romantically involved, the law still says at 16 you can't legally give your consent. So if you engage in sexual intercourse with somebody who's 16, you're in trouble.
But we haven't seen her. What if she doesn't look 16? What if he didn't know she was 16?
And that's a great question. That's the one that's always puzzling about this. The law also says, you know what, if you were ignorant about that fact, that's unfortunately, it's your fault. You are charged, the individual is charged with making sure if you're going to have sexual relations with somebody, they are indeed above the age of consent.
Will his prior legal troubles be a factor in this case?
They will in a couple of ways here. If it goes to trial, the jury probably won't hear at all about this because they're unrelated to us. But his prior problems could be a difficulty for him if they're trying to work out a deal for him. Because, you know, the prosecutor might say, all right, look, she looked older than 16, so we're willing to give you some help on that. Maybe we'll cut you down to probation or no jail time. But the fact that he's been in trouble before, it's a little bit harder to get a better deal.
All right, Jack Ford, as always, thank you, Jack.
All right, Meg.
A lot happens early on The Early Show, weekday mornings on CBS.